How's it going, everyone? It's DJ, and welcome back to the Skyblock video. And today I'm going to be talking about zombie slayers, because I did do a slayer video recently, but it's kind of like a joke. You can check it out if you want. I thought it was kind of funny. It's just kind of like me being deadpan for about 10 minutes or so, and really dry humor, I guess. But whatever. Anyways, I figured I would show you guys actually how to do zombie slayers, because I figured I owed you guys at least some form of proper explanation on slayers after that video. I don't know if anyone cared or anyone really wanted it, but here it is, because I'm actually trying to do Zombie Slayer myself, so I've been looking quite a bit into it, and I figured some of you might need the help, and I figured, yeah, I'd make a kind of a comprehensive Zombie Slayer guide, and kind of what you need to actually level up your Zombie Slayer a lot. But before we get into all that, I feel like it's necessary to mention that over 95% of you guys aren't subscribed. That's no joke. So if you aren't already, please hit that subscribe button, because I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers somewhat soon, and if you could help me out, I'd be so grateful. Now let's get right in the video. Alright, so let's just jump in and tell you what Slayers are. So basically, Slayers, or Zombie Slayer in this case, is you'll go down to Aatrox in the bar, and you will pay to activate a quest, and you will kill a certain combat XP's worth of zombies, or any type of zombie, and that will then summon the Revenant Horror boss in the zombies case, which is the Zombie Slayer's boss. You will then kill that boss and gain Slayer XP. And you can level up your Slayer level. The more you level up your Slayer level, the better items you will get. Most of these items are just to kind of help you kill the Slayers faster, but near the end of the line, you will get some really good endgame items, such as the Reaper's Scythe, and of course the Warden's Helmet, which if I've been led to believe correctly, is the strongest helmet currently in the game, as it converts speed into strength. Now, I'm going to kind of give you a guide of kind of like how to do zombie slayers, the best time to do them, and this is mostly going to be on what you will need to do these zombie slayers. Now, a lot of the slayers, like the later slayers, the later levels are very endgame. There are the beginning levels, or the lower level slayers, which are more early game, but a lot of this is gonna, like a lot of the stuff you'll need to do the better slayers is be a lot of endgame stuff, but I'm gonna go over it anyways. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about just the Revenant Horror boss in general. If you don't know already, there are 5 tiers of Revenant Horror bosses, tiers 1 through 5, of course, with 1 being the easiest and 5 being the hardest. Now, the 5th one was just added in March this year, I believe, while the others were added back in October 2019, I believe. Don't quote me on that perfectly. It was added, they were added in 2019 sometime. But the Revenant Horror 5 is the hardest of the Revenant Horrors and one of the hardest bosses, and it was added, yeah, in March. So, honestly, the best time you'll want to be doing these slayers is because they can get quite expensive, especially if you're doing tier 4 and 5s. The best time is when Aatrox is elected as mayor. That is the best time to do slayers, as you most likely you'll be getting more slayer XP per boss, and also the quests cost less to activate. Therefore, it is much more efficient to do it when Aatrox is mayor. You can do them otherwise, but it's not as efficient. And now I'm going to get into the meat of the video, which is just what you need to actually do these slayers. The best setups, in my opinion, or what I found works really well for slayers. This isn't going to be the most efficient setup, however, it is going to be pretty good. If you have any other suggestions in the comments, if I get something wrong, then please let me know down in the comments. I would really appreciate it. I'm still learning about slayers myself, and I just figured I'm going to kind of share my experiences at least, and what I feel like is the best for doing these slayers. Now, let's start with the Revenant Horror 1, this is baby level easy boss, so you barely need anything to kill this. I think you could probably kill it with an undead sword, if I'm being completely honest. It's really not a difficult boss. You'll probably only do it once, and then immediately move on to tier 2s. It's a baby level easy boss. You could do it with, like, I don't know, like an undead sword and some really early game armor. You want to do it once and just move on immediately, honestly. It's really not worth it all that much, focusing on that. And tier 2 is also fairly easy. I'm going to say this is going to be like a late early game boss you're going to want to be facing, the tier 2s. Yeah, and I know that a lot of popular early game set or late early game set is the unstable armor, which is honestly it works for killing it. You can easily kill it in unstable armor with an aspect at the end. It's really not that difficult. Tier 1 and 2 is really they're really easy bosses. I'm not going to be focusing too much. But tier 3 is where I kind of start to explain more. This is where it starts to get a little more difficult. Still not super hard, but if you're mid game If you're like early mid game, this is where the difficulty is going to start ramping up for you. Now I found, and because I'm going to be kind of also a lot of the setups I'm going to be talking about as well aren't specifically like for Zombie Slayer. I'm going to be getting into that like later in the video, because I know a lot of the times you already have an armor set. Like I'm going to tell you guys about, like, honestly, just an armor set that most people already have, but also works for Zombie Slayers. Because a lot of times people don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a Zombie Slayer setup unless you're really sweating it out and trying to get the Warden helmet like I am. Because I don't sweat in Skyblock a whole lot. I just kind of do whatever I want. I mostly just collect stuff. But I'm really trying to get the Warden helmet, so that's why I'm spending a lot of money. I'm investing a lot of money into Zombie Slayer. But I'm talking about, for Tier 3, a really good set you can use for Tier 3 is the Strong Dragon Armor, because a lot of mid-game players will already have this set, and it just works. It just works for... it just works for this. It works pretty well. And also, you're always going to want to have for Tier 3 and above, you're always going to want to have a God Pot on, a God Potion, because it just helps so much. You always want to have a God Potion on doing Slayers in Tier 3 and above. Tier 1 and 2, you don't need it, but I find with Tier 3... and above, Tier 3, 4, and 5, always have a God Potion on. Just helps. It's just useful. So, sorry about that. Anyways, so as I said, Strong Dragon Armor, really great set. And I know a common sword a lot of people have is the aspect of the dragons. You can have that. That works too. And if you already have a low Wolf Slayer level, then you can always use a Radiant Power Orb as well. It helps with the healing. It's just a little bit extra. It really helps. It's not, you don't need it, but it's optional. You can have it if you want. It definitely helps. And yeah, that's basically it for that. You can also, if you do want, like, with some Zombie Slayer items, you can use that as well. If you have like some lower level, Zombie Slayer items, such as the Revenant Falchion, which is a Zombie Slayer 3 sword. You can definitely use that, because it does 150 plus more damage against zombies, which will definitely help you out. You can definitely have that as an alternative to the aspect of the dragons if you really want it. Now I'm gonna get to Tier 4. This is pretty difficult boss. You're gonna want to be in maybe late mid game when you attempt this boss. So I find with a lot of mid game players, a very popular set to use is Shadow Assassin armor with mid game players. Or 3/4 Shadow Assassin armor with a Zombie Knight or Zombie Soldier chestplate. Now, the setup I used when I personally did Tier 4s was I used 3/4 Shadow Assassin armor with Livid Fragments, and a Zombie Slayer. Sorry, no, not Zombie Slayer. A Zombie Soldier chestplate. Sorry, I'm so used to saying Slayer this episode. I just kind of missed that. Anyways, I used a Zombie Soldier chestplate as well, plus a Fabled Livid Dagger. However, that's just a sword I had, and it's very expensive. It's like 13 million coins. A sword that I suggest, if you are Zombie Slayer 6 and above, is the Reaper Falchion, because it is excellent. It is one of the best swords for Zombie Slayer, other than the axe of the Shredded Sword, which I will talk about later. But the Reaper Falchion is so good for this, because you heal 10 hearts per hit, you deal plus 200% damage to zombies, and you receive 20% less damage from zombies, and it is significantly cheaper than a Livid Dagger. For example, a base Livid Dagger is something like 7 mil. The one I had was 13 because it was recombobulated, had all good stuff, had all that nice stuff on it. A Reaper Falchion clean is like 3 million coins. It's very cheap, but you do need Zombie Slayer 6 for it. So until then, I suggest using something like a Flower of Truth or a Livid Dagger for that if you've done dungeons. Because a Flower of Truth is really good for Slayers, because you can easily clear out a small area of zombies with the ability, and you can get those, and you can rack up that XP pretty fast to summon the boss faster. It's honestly pretty good for Zombie Slayer 4. And also, I mentioned before the Radiant Power Orb. You will definitely need that for this. A Radiant Power Orb, a must for this. Or even a Mana Flux Power Orb if you have it. I personally don't have that yet, but I'm working towards it. That is Wolf Slayer 6, I believe. But a Radiant Power Orb, definitely a must. So for a Zombie Slayer 4, I suggest just a set that most mid-game players will have is 3/4 Shadow Assassin armor with Livid Dagger or Flower of Truth. You can use that for Zombie Slayer 4. That definitely works. Plus a God Potion, of course, like I mentioned before, and a Radiant Power Orb. Now we move on to Tier 5s. Oh boy, Tier 5s are a nightmare. I can't even do them myself yet. However, I do know what you need to do them yourself. Oh wait, real quick. Sorry, I got to backtrack real quick. I should be cutting this out, but I'm really lazy right now. I just reset my PC, and I'm re-recording all this because I made some mistakes, and it picked up from my webcam microphone instead of my main studio mic. So, oopsies. But anyways, you are gonna want to have a pet along with some form of pet along with tier 4s at least. I used tiger pet before, an epic tiger pet, but an epic zombie pet will work excellent as well. Sorry, I had to backtrack real quick there. But tier 5s, as I said before, oh boy, they are a nightmare. Tier 5s, you need to be like endgame for this stuff. Ooh, it's difficult. Anyways, so a excellent armor set to use. This is where you're gonna want to get like armor sets specifically for Zombie Slayer. This is where you start getting armor sets just for Zombie Slayer when you get to tier 5s. There's no other like armor set. Maybe a Necron armor might work. I don't know. I haven't tried. I don't have Necron yet. But a really good set, one of the best sets you can use, or the best set you can use for tier 5s, is the Reaper Armor set. Now, Reaper Armor is just really good. You unlock it at Zombie Slayer 7, when you'll be doing tier 5s. And its ability, its full set bonus is just so good. When you sneak, you enrage for 10 seconds, gaining 100 speed, 100 damage, and 100 strength. And the cooldown is 25 seconds, but it's so good because you can just like boom, it's just excellent. And also the set bonus as well, you get extra healing from healing wands and 100% defense against zombies, and you deal plus 200% damage against zombies as well. Now this is a stage in the game where you're definitely going to want to have this, and also the Reaper Mask as well. Because it's healing. It's just really good because you get twice the healing. It's one of the best. It's one of, if not the best helmet in the game for tanking. Well, not the best. I'm guessing. I'm not sure, but this is one of the best in the game for tanking. It is expensive though. It's like 10 million coins for a Reaper Mask. All the armor for this is pretty expensive. And for the sword, you are going to want to have a Revenant. A Reaper Falchion at least a Reaper Falchion. An Axe of the Shredded if you are Zombie Slayer 8. But that it takes a while. So you're going to want to have the Reaper Falchion at the beginning because of the bonus I mentioned before, that you deal plus 200% damage against zombies and receive 20% less damage from zombies when you're holding it. Now you'll also be needing a epic or legendary zombie pet for this because the perks for this are just absolutely amazing for this. For example, the Rotten Blade perk gives a certain amount of damage to zombies per level, up to a max of 20% more damage to zombies at level 100 pet. And Legendary also has another perk which increases defense of undead armor sets by up to 25% at level 100 as well. But that's not as important because you can already pretty much survive a tier 5 in Reaper armor so long and a Reaper Mask so long as you're dealing enough damage fast enough, which is more important in this case. That's why you're gonna need a Reaper Falchion or Axe of the Shredded if you are Zombie Slayer 8. However, that's gonna take a while, so yeah, I'm just gonna start off with the Reaper Falchion. Now, another thing that you will most likely need is a Mana Flux Power Orb because of the healing. And yeah, also, or a Radiant Power Orb, although I don't know if that'll be enough. I'll test it myself later and see. But that's definitely what you will need for this. You'll need, once again, you'll need a full set of Reaper Armor and Reaper Mask because the ability is just the best. I should have mentioned also the Reaper Falchion should be recombobulated so you do more damage. And so you deal more damage to zombies. Make sure you got Smite 6 on it. Maybe even Smite 7 if you're really going to go all out. But also... is there Smite 7? I'm not sure. Yeah, there is Smite 7. Sorry, I wasn't actually sure. But it's 25 million coins. So you might not want to get Smite 7. I don't know. You might want to invest that money into something actually a little more useful in this in general. But yeah, once again, Reaper Armor, Reaper Mask, Recombobbed Reaper Falchion, or Axe of the Shredded if you are Zombie Slayer 8. Also a epic or legendary zombie pet, plus a Radiant Power Orb, or a Mana Flux Power Orb. Also, you might want yourself a Wand of Healing as well, just for that extra health in case you really get low. But also I should mention, because all the other zombies, all the other bosses, you can just tank with all that stuff. As in, by tank, I mean you can stand at a corner and hit it, and you won't die. But the tier 5 is different. That you will want to have a big open area and be running in circles, hitting the boss. Make sure to let it hit you, or it will heal as well. Because it does have the TNT ability, plus a few other abilities that will absolutely murder you if you try to tank it, unless you have, like, really, really good stuff. But with this setup here, this is a pretty decent, kind of cheapish setup. Not really cheap, but a more budget setup rather than having like full Necron armor or whatever. I don't know if full Necron armor will even work. It probably will, because full Necron armor is awesome. But I don't know, because I'm broke, because I spent 200 million coins on cake souls. But anyways, that's aside from the point. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I hope I kind of covered everything. I was mostly about the setups and stuff. But anyways, that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see other Slayers and stuff, comment down below. I'll do probably another Slayer guide soon, once I figure out more on Slayers. Because I've mostly just been focusing on Zombie. I'll focus on some others later. But that's about it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.